So, Diesel 10, you all know him, the sadistic psychopathic train with a giant claw to boot? Yeah, that guy. I said this in my video about him, watch it by the way, that one of the most important parts about Diesel 10 is his voice. He started out in Magic Rared being voiced by Neil Crone, who gave him a funny New Jersey accent that surprisingly fitted the character really well. Flash forward to the CGI series where he was voiced by Matt Wilkinson, which gave a different approach to him. But did you know he actually has a lot more? Today, I thought it would be fun to discuss all of his English-speaking voices and rank them all from worst to best. Quick disclaimer, this video is mainly inspired by ThomasFan261's ranking videos. Check those out. Alright, so all the voices I'm taking into consideration are Neil Crone, Keith Scott, Michael Brandon, Michael Angelis, Robin Smith, Rupert Dagus, and Matt Wilkinson. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Give us back the old face!
Coming in at last place is Michael Angelis. Now, he doesn't do a flat-out bad job, it's just, he sounds really bored, if that makes sense. Like, take a look at this clip.
You'll be the most useful engine of all, Thomas added. Alright, snarled Diesel 10. I'll help.
Even if Calling All Engines doesn't use the more bombastic Magic Railroad Diesel 10, it still made him threatening to the other engines, and I don't see that in Michael Angelis' performance. I mean, it isn't all bad. The growl he makes when Thomas speaks to him was very good.
Excuse me? Thomas puffed nervously. Diesel 10 growled loudly.
And this line here...
Excuse me? Thomas puffed again. What do you want? Snapped Diesel 10.
actually sounds really good. It's just a shame the other lines don't sound as good. Maybe if Diesel 10 spoke more in this movie, I would have a different opinion on him, but yeah, that's why Michael Angelis is coming in dead last.
Things are completely back to normal again.
Coming in at 6th place is Robin Smith. Now, if you don't know who Robin Smith is, he was the man who voiced the menus in the games for the Thomas DVDs. And there's a game on the Calling All Engines DVD that tells you to find a specific scrap piece that Diesel 10 puts into Thomas's truck. Despite having a really awful model, Robin Smith actually does a pretty decent job as Diesel 10.
That piece of junk is in that pile. I'll grab some trash and give it to Thomas. Come here, Thomas, and pick up this trash, please.
His voice is gruff, but not too gruff to the point where it gets annoying. There isn't much else I can say due to how little of a performance he has, as it's just a little minigame, but overall it's a pretty good voice that sounds like a Diesel 10.
And here's the contract to prove it!
Coming in at 5th place is Keith Scott. Keith Scott's voice for Diesel 10 doesn't really feel like a Diesel 10 voice in my opinion. I don't know if it's because I'm more used to the Neil Crone voice, but Keith sounds more like a Disney villain, which isn't a bad thing necessarily.
Losing your sparkle, eh? What perfect timing. Make the most of tonight, Twinkle Toes, because you won't like tomorrow. Neither will that line of tin kettles.
But that was just the work print. In the leaked chase from forever ago, we were shown to what is believed to be a final cut of the work print, and Keith's voice for Diesel 10 sounds a little different.
Aha! The blue puffball! And just look who else I found! Splodge! Get up here and destroy!
Splodge, come and help me!
Ah, puffball! Teapot! Ah, tin kettle!
He sounds a lot more evil and gruff, if that makes sense, compared to the smoother voice he gave in the work print. Maybe if Keith was kept for the movie and wasn't just in the work print, I might have had a different opinion on him, seeing as how I feel like that voice sounds a little better, but overall, Keith does a pretty good job. I honestly think the voice he gave for Diesel 10 in the final version of the work print sounds better than the one in the original work print. Maybe if he voiced him in the CGI series, I would have liked him more, I don't know. Speaking of CGI Diesel 10, in 4th place we have Matt Wilkinson. Matt gave a very different approach from his appearances before Misty Island Rescue, and honestly I wasn't expecting this voice to get so high on the list, seeing as how I don't really like CGI Diesel 10. Matt gave Diesel 10 more of a sly, snake-like voice that matches really well with what he's trying to do in Day of the Diesels.
Hello, Percy. Diesel said you might come to visit. Welcome to the Diesel Works, Percy. No, we don't. And we won't. Out of my way, you silly steaming. How will you help us?
Sometimes I feel like the voice can get a little exaggerated, like this scene where he tells off Kevin.
Please move that garbage.
On my latest rewatch for this video, I noticed that he actually snaps quite a bit.
But what about Thomas?
We need a new crane instead of old Happy Hook here.
Quiet!
Other times I feel like his voice is just whiny like in the missing Christmas decorations.
It's not fair. You've got more decorations than us. Everybody likes Steamies better than Diesels.
Oh, boo-hoo, what are you gonna do about it? You gonna cry? You gonna cry, huh? You gonna cry, little piss baby? A problem that some of the actors in CGI had is that sometimes their voice wouldn't match with the character's face, but in Diesel 10's case, I wouldn't imagine anyone else voicing this version of Diesel 10. Surprisingly, Matt Wilkinson does a pretty good job as Diesel 10. In third place, we surprisingly have Michael Brandon. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either. The main problem I had with Angelus's voice for Diesel 10 was that he didn't put any emotion into it. Michael Brandon is the exact opposite of that. This is the most gruff-sounding Diesel 10 voice.
What do you want? Snapped Diesel 10. Why would I help a Steamy? Maybe I will help later. All right, snarled Diesel 10. I will help.
Michael put a lot of emotion into his performance. A problem with Michael Brandon is that most of his voices for characters don't fit them at all, but not for Diesel 10, at least in my opinion. His delivery shows a lot of that grumpy, snappy side that this movie was going for. That's honestly all I have to say about Michael Brandon's voice for Diesel 10. Overall, a surprisingly really good voice for him. Just missing out on the #1 spot is Rupert Degas. Now if you don't know, this man was originally going to play Diesel 10 in Misty Island Rescue. An interview with him in Sodor Island fan site states that he voiced Diesel 10 for about a week and had the lines already recorded, until some people felt his voice was too scary, too camp, and too theatrical. Afterwards, he was put off, and since he wasn't in Day of the Diesels, we only have one scene at our disposal.
You'll be laughing on the other side of your boilers soon, silly Steamies. Yeah.
This voice for Diesel 10 would have been perfect for the show. It gives us a look at what could have been for Day of the Diesels. I can kinda see where people were coming from with it being too scary, but like, it's a train with a claw. Even if he was removed from the cast, they still used his laugh for the final cut, so if he sounded too scary for kids, then why did you use the same laugh? I don't know, that was a weird decision. Overall, Rupert Degas did a phenomenal job as Diesel 10, but it just sucks that he wasn't used for the final cut. Coming in first place, to probably no one's surprise, is Neil Crone. Neil Crone was one of the creative consultants for the movie alongside Kevin Frank. Both originally auditioned to voice the troublesome trucks, but Neil was given the role of Diesel 10 when some producers heard him doing a Russian accent for one of the trucks.
And as they're rolling this thing along, I just started to do this, just improvise this goofy Russian voice.
Right.
Sort of sounded like this, you know, I'm going to, Pinchy, why don't you come and, get these trucks for me? So, and it was literally one of those Hollywood moments where I see Britt through the window, she hits the talkback button, and she goes, wait, say that again. He talked like that all the time, and he was always talking to Pinchy, his crane on top. And he used to get really upset with Pinchy. Stop that! What do you think you're doing?
The Russian accent was eventually dropped after test audiences claimed it would be offensive. Afterwards, Neil gave a different approach to Diesel 10 by giving him a New Jersey accent.
Gone, like the lost engine and the buffers that lead to her. Hello, Twinkle Toes. Remember me? Fat Hat won't have much use for you looking like that. Playtime's over, Splodge. Uh-oh. Now it's time for the next lesson, huh? I call it How to Stop Being Stupid. I know that's gonna ruin my facial. Oh.
This voice for Diesel 10, and I'm not even exaggerating, is perfect. It really tells the audience that he can be an idiot, but when he gets mad, shit gets real.
So you've lost your sparkle too, huh? Bye-bye, Twinkle Toes. It's empty. Here we go.
Junior, what are we gonna do?
We'll think of something.
One of the best things about his performance is giving Diesel 10 a very recognizable laugh.
Right, Pinchy?
Neil knew exactly what film he was in and is probably the reason why Diesel 10 is so memorable. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. But before we end this, I need to get something off my chest. So you guys know you guys know Pinchy, right? Yeah. In Magic Rared, his movements are very, normal. They're really smooth. But when we get to calling all engines, he looks like he's about to spontaneously combust.
This is the voice of Diesel 10, who's been sniffing too much of his own diesel fumes.
Then I'm not gonna pay my taxes.
Really, boys?